You speak a lot about going externally inwards and also going internally outwards. So when any person builds a character, there are the externals of the physicality and the look and etc. And then of course there is the psychology and the internals. So how important is each, and how should one approach?
They're equally important. I think the look of the character, the external behavior and conduct of the character is as important as the inner world of the character, which is the worldview, the psychology, the thought process, the emotion. Both are equally important. It's just that in our workshops, I sometimes give more weightage to the inner world because everybody is only focusing on the external world. So just because we give so much focus to the inner world does not mean that the external world is not important. It's very important, but I think actors end up doing that. Even if you don't tell them, they will think of ye shirt पहनेगा, ये जूता पहनेगा, ऐसे हाथ करेगा, वैसे करेगा. They'll themselves that your first instinct is to think more physical traits than psychological traits as actors, especially in our industry, because our system of acting is largely external. Not so much. I think things are really changing now, but more or less over the years, it has been more physical approach to acting than the psychological or the emotional or the the world of this person. So that's why there's more focus on building an inner world. But at the end of the day, both are equally important because they serve each other. Your look will make you start feeling a certain way. It's very simple. If you're walking barefoot on the road, you'll feel different. But if you're wearing some very expensive luxury shoes and walking in a very dapper suit, you'll feel very different. Just the fact that you're just wearing a dhoti and a gamcha and nange paw, and your walk will be different. You won't walk how you would walk in a suit. So yes, definitely, all these things make a huge difference to the body. The body will adapt to the clothing. The body will adapt to the look. When you look yourself in the mirror, if your character is supposed to be ugly, you'll start feeling ugly after some while. After some time, and if you're looking really nice and if it's a part where you're supposed to be very good looking and you've groomed yourself to be good looking, and a lot of people around you have styled you to look very good, then when you look in yourself in the mirror, you'll feel good. So it'll affect your psychology. Whereas if you've done some other things to not look good, when you look in the mirror, it'll every day keep making you feel a little different about yourselves. So the external is extremely important in acting, very, very important. But we just don't give that much weightage to the inner world. So equally important.
So as you're saying, inner world is extremely important, and through your workshops and your sessions, we have built the backstory of every character. That's how the understanding of the workings of the psychology and how the person functions, what he's gone through or she's gone through, is brought about. So once we have created the backstory in our own version or with the director, how does one internalize it? Should one try and live it as much as possible before a performance, or is it, how should that process be to internalize the backstory as much as possible so it becomes?
Yeah, so how we always talk that there are two kinds of preparation. There's the intellectual preparation and the practical preparation. So writing the backstory is all the intellectual side of the preparation, which is understanding the parts, identifying it. So what the intellectual preparation does is gives you a lot of ammunition. That's what it is doing. It is giving you a lot of things to play with. Because till you do that preparation, you don't know what to play with. You don't have conflicts, you don't have any subtext, you don't have anything to include in a scene, some angle that you felt with this particular, you're doing a scene with actor B, and you've had a backstory with this actor B, then that story can be the subtext in the scene when you're doing it with that particular actor. But when you don't have this, then you're just saying your line. So without that, it doesn't work. Having said that, till we live it, we won't truly know what it feels like to be that person. One is to understand it intellectually, but what it is to feel it. So the practical preparation is to put yourself in a situation, whether it's an improvisation that you're doing from this particular film, and it's an improvisation from much before. And I really suggest actors to do long improvs. because if you do an improv for 5 minutes, you barely scratch the surface. Give yourself a situation and do an improv for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Don't stop. Because after the 40 minutes are over, you will know what it is to be this person. Because at some point, this person will start entering you. Or you will start accessing sides of you which you didn't know exist in you. Because now you're thinking from this person's point of view, based on your intellectual preparation. You're thinking like this person, and then you would, in one or two things, you've completely surprised yourself. In minute 30, you did something, and after the improv is over, you're like, how did I do that? I never thought of this. And you can't think of a lot of things. You only realize some things when you do them. So the practical preparation is so important to inculcate the character. So it's important, very important to live the character. Again, now depending on the script, how different is the part from you, and how challenging is the part. Based on all those decisions, you decide whether you want to do it 1 hour in a day or whether you want to do it 10 hours in a day. That's completely dependent on, and also what is the vision of the director? Do they want you to do too much? Do they don't want you to do too much? So yeah, whether you're doing a workshop for the film, will that workshop allow you to, practically enter that world on the floor? So all these things are very specific to each and every film. But what's important is to do both intellectual and practical preparation, which is entering and doing scenes and doing improvisations as that person. Or visiting and staying in the environment of that person, if that environment is very different from you. So a lot of films that I've worked on, the actors who are playing the part have never even seen that world, let alone know it. So we make them live in that space then, because it's just about, you wake up in that, to those sounds. You walk in the street which is like that. You're engaging all 5 senses with that environment. And when you do it long enough, that environment enters you. Your body becomes that, your way of speaking becomes that. So we are all, just a subject of our conditioning. So when we subject the actor to the conditioning of the character, which is the environment of the character, then we start inculcating that environment in ourselves. So it really helps. Yeah.